Ready, everybody? Oh, I gotta read this. Just stepped out. We'll start with the minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Next item, we have the consent agenda. There is five items on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Dave, Julie, second it. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Moving on to the regular agenda, the first item is the confirming the appointment by the county executive to the CNY Works Board of Directors, and the appointment is Kevin Meeker. Is that, do we just make a motion on that? Yeah. Okay.
So moved.
Dave made a motion. Do I have a second on Kevin Meeker?
Second.
What's that? No, Dan, or Dave Matt, and Julie seconded it. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Is that opposed, Chris? No. Oh, okay, good. A little slow today. Okay. Next item is facilities management. Archie, do you want to come up for a minute? Hi.
Good morning, folks. Today, Facilities is asking for you to approve the cash for $210,000, three different items. We've taken this to committee where it moved right through committee very well without question. And I will quickly explain what these three items are. One of them is $90,000 for the upgrades and rehabilitation of our mail processing machine. As you know, our mailroom processes all the mail for Onondaga County, OCC, City of Syracuse, a couple towns and villages, and it is in an age where the software and the hardware is no longer supported, and some components of the processing machine need to be replaced. That has a cost of $90,000. We are asking for, I'm sorry, is there any questions on that before I move on?
That is a purchase, you don't lease that. That equipment is a purchase, you own it, the county owns it, right?
We pay licensing for the use of their software.
Okay.
But the elements of the machine is our asset.
Okay. Any other questions? No, go ahead.
So we're asking for $30,000 to replace HVAC filters. This hasn't been in our budget for the last 2 years because we replaced and we changed our filter selection for COVID, and it was a 3-year filter. So now it's the time that we need to replace these filters again with the new COVID compliant filter, and it's got a value of $30,000. We're also asking to purchase, a one-time purchase for a 45-foot articulating boom lift. I did quick figures before I asked for this, and the amount of work that we have upcoming in the next 2 years will balance the rental cost for over the next 2 years will be the payback. So we expect this to be paid back within a couple of years from the cost we would have to do for rentals of this equipment. And then we'll own it, and we'll have this asset for quite a period of time, and other departments like Parks and DOT will be able to use it as well. And that's what I have today, folks, if there's any questions.
Archie, what exactly will you be using the boom lift for?
So we need a lift to do all of our parking lot parking light replacements.
Okay.
So at every parking lot, we have to get up in the air and aerial. It's a lot safer than a bucket truck now. The rental of these things is typically between drop-off, pickup, and a week's winter. It's usually about $2,000 a week. That's just one example. We have masonry work that we have to do periodically. A lot of our buildings are masonry, and we have to get up in the air to do them. Sealing around windows, cleaning off deterioration. We have, from time to time, we have cameras and surveillance on buildings that we have to maintain and repair and replace. Those are just some very obvious things that we do with them, but we use them a lot. We have projects coming up that over the next 2 years that we'll need it for.
Okay. And again, if Parks or DOT need it, it could be moved to their location.
Yes, of course.
It-
Parks has a trailer they can transport it, and so does
Okay.
DOT.
Okay, good. Okay. Any other questions?
Yes. How long is the operational life of that boom?
So we have 2 boom lifts that are designated for the on-center complex. They're basically for the convention center and the War Memorial, mainly for their events. And they were purchased in 1993, and they're still operational, both of them. The one we would select would be electric, so it can be used indoors, too.
Okay. Dave?
moved.
Any other questions? No? Do I have a second? Julie? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay.
Thank you very much, folks.
Next, we have Parks. Hello.
Nice day to be in the park, huh? Look at the sun out there. Okay, so we are here asking for $125,000 in a transfer resolution. This is going to cover 2 separate items. The first item that we're talking about is we're requesting a shade structure for our brand-new pickleball courts that we've built at Onondaga Lake Park. As you're aware, those courts have been highly successful and highly popular. But in doing some feedback with our customers, the one thing that keeps coming back to us is an area for them to go to be protected from the elements, an area for them to gather. So we're proposing here a 15 by 15 shade structure. This will also enhance, we have a couple tournaments on the books, and an area for people to hang out and gather between matches. It needs footers, it needs a concrete pad, and just to kind of paint a picture, if you've ever been to the parks to use any of our shelters as a department, those are 30 by 30. So this structure is 15 by 15, which is about half of that. And again, it's just for a place for our players to go, get out of the elements, enhances the courts, and that's the project.
Brian, on that, I know when they opened it, I'd heard bathroom, a closer bathroom. Would that be something that this structure would?
Possibly. I haven't gotten any of that. I haven't heard
really?
it because the Griffin Visitor Center
Yeah.
is a stone throw away, and we had softball fields there, we had
Okay.
kickball fields there, we had a football field at Griffin.
Okay.
Same bathroom is in existence. So I haven't heard that too much, but that's an easy fix if it becomes a problem down the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is Dave.
Just real quickly, I know, they have been very, very popular. Is there a way to make sure you put this in a spot that if we expand the courts, this won't be in the way?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. And the way we built those courts is we left room for expansion to the north. This would be essentially a centrally located type thing, so folks could kind of conjure in the middle, like a central gathering point. And there's a spot for that right there. But that's a good question. Yeah.
Make sure the minutes reflect it was a good question.
So when we build the next 12, we've got room.
Okay. Chris, question? No? Okay.
Okay. The next request we have here is brand new radios for our park rangers. The radios are currently using are 20 years old, so it's time to replace. We've got 20, we're going to get 20 for all 22 park rangers, or it will be a brand-new radio for them, and then we'll have 3 spare radios for them to grab, in case something happens. Last time we replaced them was 2003, so you have to do a full replacement because, obviously a radio that was programmed in 2003 isn't going to be able to talk to a radio that's programmed in 2024. So, yeah, we'd like to get all new radios for the Rangers. They'll be able to, talk to each other on their own station, but as Dave asked, which was a very good question last time, for events like the amphitheater and big events, they'll be able to talk to the troopers and the sheriffs and stuff like that. So, yep.
How many Rangers do we have?
How many 22.
22? Wow,
Yep.
nice.
Yep. So this would be a brand-new radio for everybody and then 3 spares.
Chris, go ahead.
So, do we have to, the radios, would they be, they kind of like the police radio, like how?
Yeah, they're police radios. They're
Okay.
walkie-talkies, so they can talk to each other during events. If an emergency comes in, they carry them around now, right? So they're just 20 years old.
And they will be the same ones that we purchased before? We're not going to be put out for bid?
It would be the
contract
same,
now?
but it's more of the software. The software certainly needs to be updated. And on these radios that we have now, they've certainly been through maintenance, and some of these comes with maintenance agreements, but they've certainly reached their end. But yes, they'll be the same thing, Chris.
Brian?
I think I'm good. If I could maybe just clarify. So it's the same system as our public safety.
Exactly.
Paid, volunteer, everybody.
Yep.
It's on.
And just by switching the knob on the top, you can talk to whoever you need to talk to. And they'll be programmed in that fashion. Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, you bet, Brad.
So are we piggybacking on the sheriff's bid, or are these the same radios, or?
They can talk to the sheriffs, but
No, I mean the actual purchase.
I haven't really thought about
Or
that.
are we putting it out to bid?
We were going to do it on our own,
Okay,
Just,
so you
that's
go
what we
put
did
it out.
last time.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Nope,
put it
that's
on our
fine.
own. Yep.
Good.
So to follow up on that, so that was my question, right? So we had a lot of discussion last year, or the year before, I don't even know, every year seems like a new year here, about the Motorola's. We had whether it was going to be the ones that United Radio did, or the
These are Motorola's current.
Okay, so that's going to be 65, Dave, remind me again, what were they, the Motorola like 6500 or something like that? Is that what they were?
Yeah, I forget the exact model number
Right.
that the last ones were, that the sheriff is buying.
Model notwithstanding, it's just, the whole point of the system questions that Chris and I followed up with is to ensure that we're compatible, consistent.
We wouldn't even get them if we weren't. We wouldn't even bother with them if we weren't. We have to be able to do that because of how often we talk to the other agencies.
Right, so in addition to the radios that were with the sheriff's radios, because they had 20 years, they're back when we bought all of them years ago, 20, before I was here. And then they were kind of uniform, they all talked, everything. I don't want to, the sheriff's in the back, they probably know more. Well, they do. And then also villages and towns also went off of that bid too, because there were other villages and towns that had, it would be good if they were uniform. I guess that was.
We could
just
try,
my
sure.
question.
Easy for us to look into that, Chris. Easy for us.
Thank you,
We'll
Brian.
do that, and we can coordinate too. Okay, yep.
What's happening to the old radios? Do they have any monetary value? Are we selling those, trading those in,
Well,
gifting
the
them?
old radios, we're hoping, and we're still waiting to hear back, we can get some value towards the purchase because, as Brian was, it's all about the programming of them. But some of the handhelds, they're 20 years old, but they're in decent shape, so we are looking to try and get a buyback value, yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Do you have a motion? Dave, Chris, second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay,
Thanks,
thank you,
guys.
Brian.
Enjoy the day.
The public library? Bless you.
Hi, how you doing? Good morning. Library is here today to ask you to approve 4 requests. The first being a transfer of funds to allow us to complete a replacement project of the public computers at the Central Library. We began the project in '23 and covered the branches, and now we have still to replace the computers at our central library. The second request is for a transfer of funds to allow a new security camera system for Beecham Library. We had a total failure of the system in December. The third request is to allow us to purchase and install drinking fountains at 3 of our branch libraries, Beecham, Sewell, and White Branch. They currently do not have public drinking fountains, and these are communities that are very busy, especially in the summertime with kids coming in, and we feel it's a necessity. And the final request is would allow us to purchase a new delivery vehicle. We currently have 4 delivery vehicles. One has pretty much reached the end of its expected lifespan. We make deliveries to 32 sites across the county. This allows us to deliver materials countywide.
Okay. And the computers, how many computers will that get for you?
Computers on all 3 floors of the library.
Okay. 39, was it?
39.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Questions?
I'll move it.
Okay. Chris?
I'll second.
All in favor? Oh, opposed? Motion carried. Yes, thank you.
So much.
Next is environmental protection. Shannon?
Good morning, everyone. In front of you today is a proposed transfer resolution that will provide funding for digitization of WEP's permitting processes and other workflows. So what we've been working on over the last few years is really taking a look at inventory of all the different old access databases that we use to manage permits and other data throughout the department. And so we've identified OpenGov as being the software that we feel is really well represented in New York State. A lot of municipalities are using it. It's a very simple and easy interface that will allow us to have a public portal for various vendors and residents to come in and apply for different permits and communicate with us. And so we are requesting the money to kickstart the project in '24, starting with our plumbing permits program. Obviously, as we see development in the community, the request for plumbing licenses and plumbing permits is on the uptick. And so this will allow us a central database that's going to better provide workflow of those applications, allow plumbers and residents to apply outside of normal business hours, because we'll be open 24/7 now with this on a cloud-based solution. And then the intent would be then to roll it to our industrial permits and then start looking at, as we get it up and running, other opportunities for digitizing our workflow and really kind of getting away from a paper-based system. That's been a little bit of a challenge to manage. So are there any questions?
Shannon, this system, OpenGov, is anyone else in the county using it?
Nobody else in the county is using it currently.
Okay. So have you vetted this with Kevin Sexton, and
Yep.
They feel as if this is a better solution to go with a vendor software versus creating something in-house?
Correct. And so what we have been using over the years was old access databases that were
Yeah.
internally created. And unfortunately, those software have been sunsetted by Outlook or by Microsoft.
Yeah.
And we don't have the skills internally to really maintain custom software anymore. So really a cloud-based hosted solution allows some relief from our IT department, because under the contract with OpenGov, they provide the servers, they provide the IT support, they will provide all of the training and training and guidance documents for us. So it's really, a whole full solutions package for us.
Yeah. The town of Salina has been using OpenGov for about 3 years now for their permit processing, And it is a good software. The only thing I caution you about is you might want to have an upfront cost about, or talk about the maintenance going forward. They up the maintenance fees significantly after a couple of years of being on it. So that's where I just want to be cautioned that you don't want to get into that where now your data is all under one system and then now it's too cost effective, or not cost effective to maintain it.
That's a good point.
You know, so I don't, maybe if you have a contract with them, you look at multiple years of keeping that maintenance agreement at a certain price, because they are going to charge you a maintenance agreement.
Great.
And if you have any questions, I would contact the Town of Salina Planning and Development Department, because they've done an extensive amount. Our town clerk's office is on it also. So, okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, years ago with the whole PeopleSoft transition, can I say that word? PeopleSoft, is that okay?
Don't worry, Kevin's not here.
Yeah, Kevin's not here, so I guess that's okay. We found that actually there were, I couldn't believe how many homegrown software programs we had that were developed by our own internal IT staff and stuff. And the good news was it was great and it saved us a lot of money at the time. However, the bad news was as people either moved on to different jobs outside the county or retired, nobody knew how to maintain these things, and, you know, it got messy from there. So, yeah, if we have a good system, yeah, obviously keep track of the costs, but, yeah, probably a good plan.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's all great points.
Yeah, yeah. And again, continue to look at other avenues that you can use it for, because once you start, you're going to want to use it. It just makes it so much easier for people to be able to do it online versus having to come in or call.
I think that's the biggest thing that we heard from a lot of the other municipalities
Yeah.
throughout New York and across the
Yeah.
country was
Yeah.
it was really super user-friendly and
Yeah.
easy to pick up.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Move it.
Second? All in favor? Motion carried. Opposed? Nothing?
Thank you.
Okay. Health. Dr. Anderson.
Morning, everybody. Health Department is here to request the permission to spend on 6 items as outlined in the transfer resolution. The first, and I'll take them in order, $95,000 requested for the medical examiner office. $45,000 of this is dedicated to a new vehicle to be used by our forensic investigators. So this is a fundamental part of their job, to go out into the community to investigate scenes, support families, gather information. And after we put in our budget, one of our vehicles expired and is no longer usable. The other $50,000 for the MEO office here is to support renovation of our cabinets and hoods. We are very, very appreciative of the fact that we were able to purchase the Lodox, which is a very high-tech and critical piece of x-ray equipment used by our medical examiner office. Many of the investigations, they do require extensive imaging and x-rays, and this machine that we finally received was approved last year, thank you, and is received in use now. It requires some renovation of the room to be functional. So that's that one-time cost of $50,000 there. The next, for $96,000, is a comparison microscope for use in our Center for Forensic Sciences. This is a critical piece of equipment for forensic investigation, and our current machine is out of date. $25,000, there's 2 separate costs here, detailed, $25,000 and $25,000 for the same expense, essentially. This is to replace and buy new laptops for environmental health is one of the $25,000 expenses. The other is for our Bureau for Disease Control. So we had previously been using Surface Pros, which we had found, I'm not here advocating for one company over another, but our experience with them had been that their lifespan was about 3 years. They were not as functional for use in versatile situations, which is a direction we're hoping to go as a health department. So more use of computers in the field, being able to use computers in rooms, and it has resulted in additional expenses in terms of additional electronic medical record licenses, replacing the equipment more frequently, and just not serving our needs. So this is $50,000 for 2 different departments to transition to Dell Latitudes. And then $10,000 requested for a data visualization software called Tableau, which is commonly used Upstate uses it quite frequently. You can see it in other places for kind of very streamlined, effective data visualization, which again is a direction we're increasingly hoping to go as a health department to be able to share our data with the public in a way that is informative and up to date. Finally, $75,000 is requested for upstate tick surveillance. So this is to support Dr. Saravanan Thengamani's lab at Upstate. Some of you may be familiar with his work previously. He has the I think it's NewYorkTicks.org website, which was a phenomenal resource for our community as tick-borne diseases are increasing, likely just going to get worse. He had previously been open in processing thousands of samples for our county alone, much less the rest of the state, and doing it totally free, which was not sustainable at a cost of about $74 to identify the tick and then test it for all pathogens, getting information that people would need for treatment. So with this funding, this will allow him to reopen his lab in April, which is awesome and very exciting, and also to offer this testing for a 50% reduced rate for residents of Onondaga County. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Are we his only source of funding?
He has some additional funding through Upstate. He had been previously using his startup funding, but the rest of the funding now critically is going to be coming from a fee-for-service approach. But even with that, that's far cheaper than other testing labs in the area, which are typically $100 to $200 and for less information.
Okay. Julie, go ahead.
Clarify, so it will be still people from around the area accessing the lab and able to send their samples?
It'll be throughout the state.
Throughout the state, okay.
And then for Onondaga County, because of our investment, we will, as long as we're investing in it, we can be submitting ticks for 50% reduced fee for our residents.
Okay, thanks.
So this is.
Brian, go
thanks.
ahead.
This is something that an individual would pursue as opposed to a doctor's office or clinic of some sort.
That's right. So the unique approach by this lab, and I'll say New York State Department of Health does some tick surveillance, but it's about 50 ticks per year. And what Dr. Thengamani, and that's going out and sampling and trying to drag for ticks. What Dr. Thengamani's lab does is it's called a citizen science approach, where if individuals find a tick on themselves or their pets, which is very common around here, there's these little envelopes that people can send into his lab, and within a couple of days they know what the tick was and if it was carrying anything. And then they can go to their doctors and say, this is what I found, this is what I need for next steps.
So people are doing this preemptively to medical care.
They should not necessarily be waiting for results to seek medical care because they should be getting prophylaxis in a timely manner. But it can be very useful for them to know, I was out and I was exposed to a tick that was a deer tick that had Lyme disease. And often people get exposed to multiple ticks. Sure. And so it's an education approach as well. But we would not necessarily encourage that they use this to definitively guide whether or not they see a doctor. But I will say, to add on to that, the information that that gives for our local doctors is that these ticks, about, I think it's 40% of them actually carry some kind of bacteria or virus, and a lot of them carry more than one. And that's been really important for our doctors to know that if you have someone who has Lyme disease, they may also have Babesia or anaplasmosis. So it gives information for our doctors as well.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I've actually used the service personally for my family, and it was tremendous. Yep, turned around quickly. And yeah, like you were just saying, nowadays, it's not just Lyme. There's some really, really tough other diseases that they carry. And so, yeah, any information you can get is great. And yeah, it was turned around in a couple of days. And yeah, can't say enough good things about that.
So he's publishing this information so that the other doctors in the community around the state are aware of exactly what he's finding, correct?
Yeah, so he's publishing it in the scientific literature, but maybe more critically for us as residents here, is those data are available on the website, NYTicks, just NY, the letters, ticks.org, and you can hover over Onondaga County and see how many ticks have been sent in, what % were positive, and that's updated in real time.
Okay. Also, is there any state funding available for any of this?
I shouldn't say we, mostly Dr. Thengamani has aggressively pursued other sources of funding from the state and has been unsuccessful despite his earnest efforts, which I think is why, unfortunately, he's having to shift to fee-for-service, but it's still a better deal than anywhere else in the state. I'm sorry, you had a question.
Brian?
So just to kind of
You're next.
run off of that a little bit, you know, the things we do hear when it's outside agencies or outside support for good causes. It could be anything from the Landmark Theater to a community festival to something like this, where the county funds are appropriated for a given purpose. One of the things we try to strive for is, or look for, is the effort to achieve self-sustainability within the program. So, you know, the fee for service concept is maybe something we look forward to hearing about, its efficacy in the future, possibly, you know, the success or systematic approach of seeking alternate funding so that over time, a good program like this can sustain itself. It's an important goal of ours as we appropriate county resources to outside efforts, whatever they may be. And, you know, some are more successful than others at achieving that, but the effort is certainly something we would like to see in the process. And it sounds like he's doing that, but,
Yeah.
you know, we'd just like to hear more about that maybe in the future. It doesn't have to be through a formal process, but it'd be interesting to know how it's going.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think that is, he has spent the last couple of years deep in the finances of how much does this cost, what is the level of community interest, and he wouldn't be reopening if he didn't think that this was going to be sustainable, but that's a fair question. I'm happy to report back. Yeah.
Did he have some federal funding maybe when he started out several years ago? I mean, we're talking like 2019, 2020?
He may have. He has tried very earnestly again to identify all possible sources of funding, and most of it was coming from, he may have had a CDC grant or something like that, but most of it was coming from his own research funds at Upstate, which is not sustainable. Yeah, and which is not the path going forward.
Chris, go ahead.
So kind of along that line of thinking, so how, the $75,000, how far does that get us? How long operationally? So I think, so obviously nobody's going to disagree, right, that it's a good program, a useful program, it's good for public health, public awareness, but $75,000, how long do you think that will last? And I think the second part to that question is when we get into the budget, right? So like if it's not going to be budgeted or it's a one-time grant or it's, well, it's transfer out of salaries into grant, but the next time in the budget, what do we look like going forward? And how do we budget for this? And what is the sustainability on it? And is it going to be every year? Is it going to be that cost? Which, again, if it is, that's something that we'll weigh because obviously, again, it's a great program. So I guess that first part is how long do you think the $75,000 will be? Right?
Yeah, so this $75,000 is going to be very important for getting things back off the ground as he reopens his lab. It's been closed now for, I think, about a little less than a year. And the $75,000, what it would get us going forward, and this is just one time this year, is the reduced rate on testing for our residents of our county. So residents of Onondaga County would pay $37 instead of $74 to get all of this information. If going forward we decide that that's not what we want to do, then it would be back to full rate for residents of Onondaga County. But we're not there yet. That's for this full year.
Okay. So I guess that is for the discounted rate for the county residents, and then we're going to have to make a decision going for next year if we want to continue it or how much is going to be in the budget or what we would need to budget for it.
That's what I expect.
Yeah.
Hence the sustainability discussion and
Yeah.
just learning how things are going. You know, I think that's important.
Very fair.
And it's always better to do that before budget time, you know, especially for the outside stuff. If we're aware, it's just helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
Questions?
I'll move it.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Dr. Anderson. Next is CNY Lyme and Tick-Borne Disease Alliance. And in,
Thank you.
Colleen?
yeah.
Look, this was discussed extensively during budget. We appropriated money for it, albeit in contingency. It went to committee, passed, I believe, unanimously. That being said, you know, I move it now.
Okay.
I don't know how much more we need to
I'll second.
Okay, okay. Any other questions?
You were all psyched up to go.
Thank you for providing your financial information, too. That was very helpful. I have motion, second it. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the sheriff.
Hello to the new legislators. The Sheriff's Office is here today. We're just asking for approval to transfer money from our regular employee salaries to our overtime wages, other employee wages, and our contractual expenses. There's projected to be shortfalls in these three accounts. Do you want me to read the amounts?
Brian?
Colleen, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. We have a process whereby overtime reporting is requested of department heads. And look, the sheriff is typically the first or one of the first people to always fill in the blanks for us quarter to quarter on OT performance and information behind which I'm sure, we're all well aware of the whys. So again, we've been pretty well informed on this subject, particularly over the past year with the fluctuations caused by all of the various influencing factors that cause the OT performance to be what it is. So with that said, I move this item.
Okay. Questions? Chris, second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And while I just want to say that I misspoke during the library discussion. The 39 workstations were for the consent item.
Oh, okay.
And it was never really specified how many workstations.
Okay.
In the library, just they were used.
She's gone. Is there anyone here from the county clerk's office? Oh, okay.
Hi, everybody. Josh Ludden with the County Clerk's Office. Today, we are just asking for you to approve a reimbursement from New York State, $516,000. If you have any questions, feel free, but this is just approving the state to give us the money for a few of the salaries in our office.
Okay.
This is a recurring item every year. So moved.
You make a motion. Second, Julie, second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Comptroller?
Good morning, all. This is asking to make a budget amendment for $75,000 in the furtherance of our digitization of the payroll records. For those of you who are new, or just by way of reminder, we have a very antiquated system where we have cards that are taken and then getting the payroll information for the New York State Retirement System or the Social Security Administration. We take the cards, we either have to go to the microfiche or to the film to do it. The machine is held together with chewing gum and chicken wire, and so this is a much better way of using DocuWare. We are approximately halfway through the project. It began approximately a year ago where we applied for a grant through New York State Archives, which we were awarded for $75,000. You approved $75,000 in June of 2023. We're applying for the grant again this year, and if you approve this $75,000, We believe that should take us to completion, although we're still dealing with some estimated numbers. Just to give you an idea, these cards that needed to be digitized were 74,492 cards. And those are people who were employed by Onondaga County prior to PeopleSoft. So it's a big number.
Questions? Brian?
Thank you. This item is fine. It's, modern progress. It's all good. But could you maybe step up to 10,000 feet? The word PeopleSoft was already used today. So maybe you could talk about just the overall status of the payroll system and where duties lie. Are you guys still manually checking records and all that stuff, or is all that a thing of the past for us now?
No, well, I guess the answer is both, Legislator May. The way we did it with, when I first came here 4 years ago, 3 times a week I would see people walking around the office with a 1.5 feet of paper and checking all the payrolls, all the payroll entries, pre-audit for all of our payroll folks. As you may recall, there was a lot of disagreement, I will say, about between the previous controller's office and the administration about PeopleSoft and the payroll function. We did a number of tests in the first 6 months that Controller Masterpole was here. We find it to be a fine system for what it is. I'm not convinced, Legislator May, that PeopleSoft, or actually I am convinced, it's not the best payroll system, but it's the system we have. We're not going to change horses, I don't believe, at this point. So that's a long answer to say, yes, I believe PeopleSoft is working fine, and we continue to audit payroll.
It's good to hear because 5 years ago we weren't trusting the technology, which is
correct.
The whole, purpose of these investments is to let it do its job. And again, PeopleSoft does a lot of things. It's going to be great in some areas and maybe not as great in others, but the fact is it's covering all areas, and we got to put some trust behind that or we're never going to be efficient.
No question. And I will say also, our biggest concern, Controller Masterpole's, was that the previous system was not supported. So, you have an error that one of the functions we have to do as a government is you got to pay your people. And if that turned out to be a problem where we couldn't, we were all in for a big problem. So PeopleSoft is working fine. Again, not the best system necessarily for payroll, but it works fine. You're welcome.
All phases of PeopleSoft have been implemented now, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. Julie?
I'm interested in terms of trying to go after that state grant money again. Does it help at all that if we were to do this, that you have a matching amount or to show our investment that helps you?
Absolutely. In the guidance for the grant, they said we don't want to be your only provider. So the interest of the county legislature, county government, kind of being 50-50 helped us immensely. Thank you for that question.
Mm-hmm. Questions? Dan?
Yeah, going back to the PeopleSoft conversation, isn't PeopleSoft no longer going to be supported? Is there a transition off of that happening, or are we going to keep it unsupported?
Oh no, PeopleSoft is supported. I was talking about the previous payroll system.
No, I understand. It was my understanding that coming in the next year or so, PeopleSoft wasn't. I can talk to you afterwards then.
That's
okay. If you're
that's not something within my purview. Our purview.
All right. Thank you.
Questions? Motion? Julie?
Thank you.
Chris, second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Carl?
Hi, everyone. Just very quickly, I'm going to follow up on the PeopleSoft.
I know
because
you
we're
would.
involved with that,
see you
too.
back there.
PeopleSoft's going to continue to be supported. Oracle's going to continue to support the PeopleSoft product that we have for a number of years. They are looking to transition their clients onto cloud-based products that they've developed since they purchased PeopleSoft many, many years ago and continued to develop it, but they are committed to supporting it for many years to come. It's not going away. Okay? Okay, so now on to other personnel business. This is a transfer resolution, a whopping $6,000 for one-time purchases, the first being a timestamp machine. Timestamping, surprisingly, is incredibly critical. We still have to operate in a paper-based world with applications. We do accept the bids for purchasing. We have to send legal documents to the law department. All of them are very dependent upon the timestamping. The machine we have is, I don't even know how old it is, but it looks like it was made in the 50s. There's no longer any company locally that supports it. Every time we need it repaired, we send it to California. So we're talking about $1,000 for a replacement machine. The other $5,000 would be for materials for the job fairs that we both host and for the ones that we attend. I hate to say it, but when we go to job fairs, the personnel department looks like a home garage startup company. You know, a billboard and some copied materials there. We do need to get the tents, the accordion banners and things like that so that we can attract the talent that we need to, because we continue, even this far past COVID, to have recruitment difficulties. So we continue to go out, try and recruit, and we need to draw attention to Onondaga County. That's what I have. Questions?
Oh, this item is fine. But maybe since you talked about recruitment, just from 10,000 feet, not in specifics. I know in my life outside of this place, things have been better. Have they been better for Onondaga County, given the technical hurdles we have in terms of hiring people, civil service and stuff like that?
The civil service process in terms of hiring, or are you just talking?
Hiring.
Hiring in general?
Yeah.
The workforce has changed. The paradigm has shifted. The way that you have to approach people has shifted. We have an employee now in our unit that has a media background and handles our social media and our outreach with our jobs, with our recruitment. So we're stepping into that realm, because if it were left to me, it would be, I don't want to say what it would look like, it would be terrible. But, you know, she's a few years out of college, media degree, knows how to do that outreach. And we're starting to see some results from that, a little more coming back in terms of applicants. We've done a little better with some of the more recent exams in terms of applications, where they've been falling off of a cliff for the last 4 years. Some of them are starting to tick back up a little bit. That said, we're still well below where we used to be. It's totally different now. The state has recognized that. I'm sure you've all heard about the changes now with the HELP program. We had the original HELP program, then the state decided, well, let's just expand it to all of our entry-level titles for the state positions only. That happened in January. There was a huge outcry from counties, towns, cities, and just on February 14th, they expanded the HELP program for all municipalities statewide for entry-level positions. We still have to jump through all the hoops of the justifications and the resolutions that have to go to the state before the state commission to approve the positions. So we'll be coming back over here many times this year, bringing you lots and lots of positions that we're going to ask to be placed into the HELP program, so we'll create new positions for them so that we can, at least for the next year to year and a half, be able to avoid the civil service exam process for many entry-level positions. And that's part of the problem with recruitment, is that the length of time, we lose candidates simply because how long it takes to hire them. These jobs used to be coveted, and people would wait 6 months for the process to sign up for exam, to take the exam, to wait for the results, to go through the interview process, and then be hired. That doesn't happen anymore. If you don't hire someone within a month, you've lost them. So speeding up the process through the HELP program is really going to help, and hopefully there will be more changes to civil service coming in the future, because the positions that are not going to be covered by the HELP program, I think we're going to continue to see the problems in recruitment for them, simply because of the length of time it takes. Did that help you, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one more follow-up. Top 2 or 3 challenges for you, areas of county government.
Top 2 or 3 challenges
Hiring.
with regard to, hiring?
Which departments, you mean?
Yeah.
Are the worst?
Oh, which departments? Oh, which departments are?
And I know we're short in social service, I know we're short, or we were short in DOT, I know Sheriff's
A
Department.
lot of more, departments with more technical fields. WEP's having difficulty, IT's having difficulty. Yeah, the ones that require a little bit more education, a little more technical fields are hard because the competition for those people, those applicants is so high that again, if we can't get them right away, we're not going to get them.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Julie?
You mentioned that the state picks and chooses as part of civil service which positions are going to be part of the program to incentivize and allow us to hire people. What jobs do they possibly, with such a problem, determine don't qualify?
It's going to be, the nice thing about this iteration of the HELP program is that the exam history and the recruitment difficulties aren't really going to be considered as this part of it. So really, most of what we send through, we expect them to accept. It's really more going to be focused on the type of work, whether or not it is truly an entry-level position. Some positions that are promotional but also have an open competitive component can get in. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be questionable depending upon on how the job spec and the justification is sent before them. So it's hard to say. It's still early. The problem is they passed it on the 14th. We still don't have the guidance yet from the state in writing. We know generally what it's going to be, but we don't have all the details. Hopefully we'll have them by early in March, but we'll see.
And the red tape of applying and everything else, is that still a major?
Yeah, even with that, we're still going to have to submit resolutions to the state with the justifications. I mean, the packets are this thick for everyone we sent in. Now we're no longer talking about, what did we do last time, 20 or 30 titles, somewhere around, not even, I think it was like 15 to 20 titles we ended up with, and it takes my civil service staff, my director who's sitting back there, Ann DeBejan, hours and hours and days to prepare those. Now we're looking at possibly hundreds of titles, so it's going to be a lot of work, And your vacations are canceled. Any other questions?
Yes, I just want to ask, recruitment, when you mentioned, you mentioned WEP because a couple instructors, they had reached out with the hiring. I know with the I&E, I guess that's the instrumentation and electrical. Have we thought about partnering, Micron, they've entered into, with the city school district OCC. I reached out to the city school district and they've got the skilled trades. I believe his name is Bruno. He said that they've got the electrical trades and others, they'll meet and they can structure that just in case if that'll help.
Yeah, we haven't, from the personnel department standpoint, done anything with that, but I will reach out to Shannon Hardy about it, absolutely.
Okay,
We'll look at anything at this point.
Okay, I'll let them know you're interested.
Sure.
Dave, did you?
I'll move it, but overall, the HELP program has been good, though?
Yes, for the most part. It's particularly with Children and Family Services. It filled all of the caseworker positions and then some. It's done a good job with, for example, social services with a lot of their positions as well. The problem now is because it was all entry level, now they're all new. They're not qualified to be at the next level. So an income maintenance worker
They're going to have to take
an
a
income
test at
maintenance
some point.
specialist, yeah, because those are promotional. But the problem is they're not even qualified yet. They've been here less than a year. They're not qualified to be a specialist yet. So Sarah Merrick has 15 or 20 income maintenance specialist vacancies. She's flush with income maintenance workers, but now she doesn't have anybody to determine eligibility.
Gotcha.
So they can do the intake, they just can't make the determinations at this point because the people just haven't been there long enough. It's kind of the unintended consequences of the program. In the end, it'll be a good thing, but
Good news,
we're
bad
kind of
news.
waiting. Good news, bad news. We're just kind of sitting here waiting until it works itself out.
So I move
Dave
it.
made a motion. Do I have a second? Julie, second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Carl. Finance? Who's coming up from finance? how you doing?
Good morning. I don't think you can hear me. I'm here for finance, real property tax services. We are requesting a printer for our tax mapping department. This printer will scan the current historical documents, produce our annual tax maps that right now we do through an outside vendor. Any questions?
Dave?
Move it.
Second. Brian? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
I have one more.
Okay, yep.
The next is for approval for the correction of errors for the 2024 town and county tax bills that you have in front of you.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Move, Brian. Second. Chris, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, and the last item is the standard workday resolution for employees. There's a list of all the employees and their standard workday hour. This is standard, I guess, Jamie, right, that we do this every year?
Not every year.
Not every year?
We just have to do it once.
Once.
For the titles.
Okay. Dave motion, Julie seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you.
I talked to accountant this morning just to make sure that